Chapter 296. Peak Showdown. Impossible, Li Chunjiao suddenly roared. He couldn't accept this fact. His eyes stared at Kang Chuan in a grim manner. "You're lying to me. Trying to use this to strike me, and then take the opportunity to kill me. Then how do you explain her cultivation growing so fast? Even if you used the star-absorbing technique to devour other people's cultivation with impunity, I'm afraid it's still not that much," Kang Chuan said coldly, with a trace of sympathy in his eyes. He felt that Li Chunjiao was a tragedy. "I'm afraid that the one who taught him the star-absorbing grand technique didn't have any good intentions in mind. If it was a good intention, then he would not have taught Li Chunjiao this demonic skill, while he himself, in the beginning, forced Emperor Dan to teach him the star-sucking great technique. How can this be compared?" Li Chunjiao was stunned at his words. It was indeed true. He couldn't explain it. He. It seems that the last time performed the star-absorbing grand technique against him, it was already known by this kid. "I'm afraid that old friend of mine must have guessed something." Inside Li Chunjiao's body, that eerie voice rang out. "No matter what, you will definitely die today. Dying in my hands is better than you being killed by her later." Kang Chuan walked step by step. The aura on his body pierced through the heavens, a boundless domineering aura covering the entire space. Although Li Chunjiao was already heavily injured, he wasn't the least bit careless. As he held the blood knife, his eyes blazing, completely displaying his strongest power. At this moment, he was much more grave than even the battle with the Li family's supreme elder. "Even if she's a goddess, I won't give up," Li Chunjiao shouted coldly. His body turned sharply and headed towards the distance ********. At this time, in this state, he didn't want to duel with Kang Chuan, because that would be the result of certain death. "Escape. Can you escape?" Seeing this, Kang Chuan's face was filled with mockery as he let out a low gulp. Sublime slash. In the next moment, his figure appeared in front of Li Chunjiao and slashed down. Muddy true essence erupted from his body at the same time, pouring into the blood blade, causing it to erupt with a blinding light. Not good. Seeing Kang Chuan, who suddenly stopped in front of him, Li Chunjiao was shocked and hastily retreated. However, a blazing blood-colored blade slashed even faster than him, only to hear a rumbling sound as his entire body flew backwards, blood spurting wildly. Instantaneous transfer. Li Chunjiao towards the sky in shock. "It's a divine ability I created myself, Sublime Chop," Kang Chuan said coldly, but in his heart, he secretly said that it seemed that Li Chunjiao had been busy with Wang Ting's matter all this while, and had not heard the news that he had defeated the Li family's supreme elder, or else he wouldn't have been unprepared for the Sublime Chop. At this moment, Li Chunjiao's already heavily injured body suffered another heavy blow, and the situation became less and less optimistic for him. "Good divine aptitude. Your talent is indeed formidable. Without the star-absorbing technique, I really can't compare to you. The first genius of Heavy Iron City is you," Li Chunjiao praised. Although the two were already immortal, surprisingly, they didn't have much hatred. If he wanted to blame it, he could only blame the world for it, who made him. Li Chunjiao, a member of the Li family, and Kang Chuan and the Li family were immortal. This, coupled with the reason of the star-absorbing technique, made it so that although they didn't have much hatred, they had to score life and death points. "Heavy Iron City has already become the past," Kang Chuan said indifferently. Then his eyes erupted. An intimidating light shot towards Li Chunjiao. He said in a cold voice, "There is a forbidden move in the star-absorbing grand technique, demonization. He can allow you to have power beyond the peak. This is the only chance to defeat me. Demonization." Li Chunjiao's eyes shrunk as he heard this, and he said in a gruff voice, "It seems that you really do cultivate the star-absorbing grand technique. Or else, it would be impossible for you to know about this forbidden move. The reason why the star-absorbing grand technique was called a demonic technique was because it, gradually, brought the practitioner into the demonic abyss from the very beginning. Those with a strong will might be able to hold on for a longer period of time, but if they continued to cultivate it, they would not be able to escape from becoming a demon in the end. Of course, some people are not willing to become a demon. There are also people willing to become a demon. The taboo move demonization is to let people directly into the devil's tricks. As long as you practice the star-sucking technique, you can perform this trick. Kangchon at this time will be this trick. This is what is called, being a good person is hard, being a bad person is easy. Once he performs this taboo move, he will be transformed into a devil, no matter what kind of injuries he suffers. As long as there is still a breath left in him, he can instantly recover and have a battle power beyond his peak. Of course, such a heaven-defying move also had a terrifying aftermath. That is, after performing this move, the soul will be devoured by negative emotions and become a true devil. True devils, unlike those devil cultivators, only had endless killing, bloodlust, ferocity, and many other negative emotions in their hearts, without a single bit of positive emotions. It could be said that at this point, Li Chunjiao was already no different from being dead. Therefore, this move is also known as the same death move. However, there were exceptions. As long as your will was strong enough, you could completely resist the demonic erosion. It was just that even immortals didn't have such a strong will, unless it's a strong person like the goddess or the power god. They reincarnate for 10,000 lifetimes and still have an immortal battle spirit, truly immortalizing all demons. Of course, if Li Chunjiao had such a will, I'm afraid that a single glance would be able to destroy the heavens. Would he still need to be demonized? Demonization. Li Chunjiao grimaced. After demonization, even if he defeated Kangchon, he would not be spared from death. He still had many attachments in this world. He didn't want to die now. However, Kangchon wouldn't give him a chance anymore. They were destined to have only one alive today. Kid, you can't perform this move. Hand over your body to me. Even if you are seriously injured now, with the old man's methods, this kid can't help me yet. In his mind, that eerie voice rang out. Hand it over to you. Oh, this is the secret you've been hiding in your heart, right? Li Chunjia laughed coldly. In fact, he had always been wary of the existence within his body. How could it be? Your brat's body, old man, can't look at it yet. What old man wants to cultivate is scattered immortal. Scattered immortal, do you know? That's an existence second only to immortals. How could old me possibly look at your body? That eerie voice sounded again. By handing over your body, your identity will be exposed, even if you escape today. Once Kangchon reports to the Heavenly Dao sect, do you think you'll be able to escape the pursuit of the law enforcement elders? Li Chunjiao finished speaking and said no more. The voice within him also fell silent. What Li Chunjiao said was the truth, and he was also clear. This battle, after all, could not be avoided. Li Chunjiao stared at the opposite Kangchon, his eyes glowing with a radiant light. A black stream of air gradually escaped from his body, and then spread his fist momentum. Instantly, an extremely evil aura erupted from Li Chunjiao's body, enveloping the entire space. Demonization, brat. Quickly take advantage of the opportunity to strike. He's weakest when he's demonized. Take this opportunity to kill him. Kangchon's anxious voice came from Emperor Dan in his mind. Li Chunjiao had finally decided to perform this forbidden move, and from this moment onwards, it also meant that he had stepped onto the path of death. Now it was up to him to see if he could defeat Kangchon and drag him into hell with him. Listening to Emperor Dan's words, Kangchon's eyes were without ripples as he said in a deep voice, Li Chunjiao is right about one thing. Taking advantage of someone's danger is not my style. You. Emperor Dan was stunned at his words. Then he sighed and said no more. In the sky, Kangchon coldly looked at Li Chunjiao, who was being demonized, and did not take the opportunity to strike. Seeing this, Li Chunjiao sighed in relief. although the current him still had the power to fight. But his previous injuries were too severe. If Kang Chon took advantage of the opportunity to strike at this moment, he would definitely be in dire straits. Luckily, he had anticipated well. Since Kang Chon had allowed him to become demonized, he would definitely not take advantage of people's danger. Snort. The demonic aura that escaped from Li Chunjiao's body grew, gradually spreading throughout the entire space. And around his body, a single demonic character symbol flashed with a dark and eerie glow. Eerie and terrifying, as if he was performing some ancient ritual. Kang Chon coldly watched this scene. He who had practiced the star-absorbing technique knew that Li Chunjiao was transforming his body into a demonic body. After it was over, the other party would be a true demon. The demonic body was very powerful, with Li Chunjiao's current strength. I'm afraid that his transformed demonic body would not be much worse than Kang Chon, who had cultivated the 9 turns of Zhuanggong. At the same time, Li Chunjiao's cultivation would be raised to at least the exhumation stage. Kang Chon's eyes were gloomy. This would be his toughest battle. Although he was full of confidence, victory or defeat was hard to predict. Roar. An evil roar came out. Not far away, Li Chunjiao, who was shrouded by a boundless demonic aura. An eerie black light shot out from his eyes. He stared fiercely at Kang Chon and roared, "Come on, this will be our last battle." After saying that, Li Chunjiao rushed towards Kang Chon. A long spear appeared in his hand. It was the Li clan's overlord gun. Boom! The lance stabbed out. The void shattered with a snorting sound. A terrifying demonic aura erupted from the lance. A black demonic dragon took to the air and killed Kang Chon. This spear was a treasure weapon, although it was only a lower-grade treasure weapon, but in Li Chunjiao's hands, it exerted a terrifying power. Boom! Kang Chon raised his blood knife. The true essence in his body erupted, and the knife body erupted with blazing blood light. The unrivaled blade aura crossed the void, invincible, and hardened to block this terrifying gun. And he himself let out a long whistle, rushed up to the sky, once again raised the blood knife, ruthlessly slashed down. The blazing blade aura, like divine punishment descending, unrivaled might. Whether it was Li Chunjiao's demonized state or Kang Chon's combat state, they were unable to sustain the fight for a long time. They could only fight quickly, so the moment they struck, it was the strongest attack. Boom! Worthy of being the forbidden move of the star-absorbing technique. After demonization, Li Chunjiao was very powerful. Even though the Overlord gun was more than 1 level inferior to the Blood Blade in his hands, it exerted a powerful force, not weaker than the Blood Blade at all. At the same time, Li Chunjiao's fist also ruthlessly clashed with Kang Chon. Two powerful forces erupted. Both sides flew out backwards at the same time, but it was indistinguishable. Kang Chon's heart was getting more and more gloomy. After demonization, Li Chunjiao was not only powerful, even the strength of his physical body was similar to his. The battle between the two of them was very intense. Every impact was a heavenly collapse. The aftershocks that escaped shattered the ground below them, revealing a terrifying crack. In the midst of the terrifying explosions, the demonic aura rushed into the sky. The domineering aura was unrivaled. The two of them fought at the peak, hard against hard. Neither one of them took half a step back. Their bodies both trembled tremendously, and they flew backward in the midst of the terrifying collisions again and again. What a terrifying youth! Is this the talent of the Kang Chon hegemonic blood? In Li Chunjiao's mind, that eerie voice rang out. After demonization, Li Chunjiao's cultivation had not only reached the outbreathing stage, even his physical body was at the level of a treasure weapon, and his overall strength was not much worse than the peak of the outbreathing stage. Yet Kang Chon was already at the 7th level of Yuanying stage cultivation, and had resisted hard, and had not lost the battle. This kind of terrifying talent shocked that existence within Li Chunjiao's body. Less nonsense. So what if Kang Chon hegemony blood? He will die today. Li Chunzhou roared as he rushed out once again. Demonic chi filled the sky, coloring the overlord lance in his hand black. He killed towards Kangqion. He who had executed the forbidden move had already walked on a desperate path. No matter how he won or lost this battle, he would not survive. It could be said that he was now completely fighting with his back to the water. His battle intent was so high that no one could stop him.